Joining us now, he is fresh off a fourth straight 30-win season at North Texas. Of course, a man who's been to the NCAAs. He's led in many different programs, including North Texas. I speak of Rodney DeLong, who's a fellow December birthday as me, as we have chatted about off the air. Joining us here on In the Circle on D1 Softball. How you doing?
I'm doing good, Eric. I'm doing good. This time of year is it's nice to take a little break and it's good talking to you.
Well, let's reflect on last year a little bit. You went 32 wins last season. You got to the semis of the AAC championships up in Wichita, and you were right there near the top of the American Conference standings. When you reflect on last season, what comes to your mind?
Ah, a number of things. One, I had a good solid senior group, and I think I was a little overzealous with the schedule. It, you know, it it served its purpose a little bit, but also I think it deterred us a little bit. What I didn't anticipate is just the amount of good pitching we faced and the competition we faced. I think we kind of limped into conference play, and I think you'd rather be confident. And sometimes you think a team can handle the adversity like that, but at the end of the day, losing's tough. And we've been competitive in those tough games in years past, and we still won some games against good teams, but we took some beatings in the non-conference part of our schedule last year, and it hurt our stats, and I think it hurt our confidence a little bit. And so, I take full blame there. But we always try to play a challenging schedule, but I think last year was just a little too much. And so that put us, like I said, we limp into that conference play, but that group was resilient, and they put themselves in a position again to where, like, the last two weekends, we had an opportunity to win that league, and even when we went out to Charlotte, we had to win at least two, to give ourselves a chance. Every game was competitive. We blew a lead in the seventh inning against them in that Friday night game, but I think it says a lot about that group and those kids, and I'm proud of them, and I put them through a tough experience a year ago, but they continue to fight, and we fell a little short of our goals, but at the end of the day, you live and you learn. And so, I definitely learned some lessons personally last year as a head coach and person that handles the schedule. So,
Well, you like you mentioned, you peaked towards the second half of the year, and you're right there for the conference championship. What did you learn about being in year one in the American?
it's a great league. I think it's deeper than the Conference USA league we were in, but also I think it kind of shows you how good the top of our Conference USA was too, because we jumped into that new league and we all had success, and we were all right there in the mix of winning that thing. And I do think it's a really good league, and hopefully we can continue to get multiple bids. I think we deserve it, and so we'll see how we do moving forward for sure.
You got half of your roster is basically new because you lose. First of all, you had a giant size senior class
Yeah.
last year. Speak of the senior class last year, what they meant to you as far as what they've done for the program.
Yeah, they were our first, like, our class, right? And so it was our first opportunity to really put the stamp on the program with some of the kids that we all recruited, and they mean a ton. There were several, five, six kids in that group that played all 4 years. Well, I say played; they started all 4 years. They stayed loyal to North Texas. We had a couple kids that had some success and never jumped on that portal, and it just means a lot to me. They're good softball players. I think they're even better human beings. A lot of them are all, doing different things now, and they're already finding success in their career paths. And it's a group that means a lot to our program, and their loyalty to me and all that stuff. It was amazing, and so had a great experience with them. It was hard to say goodbye, but also their time's up, and it's been fun, trying to build the next group.
You got like over 12 new faces, nine of them being, I believe, freshmen and three transfers. But yet you're kind of like you're like everybody else in the sport. I feel like I've talked to so many coaches this fall and went into the winter, and everybody's got youth because there's such a big departure of graduations, whether it be COVID seniors or regular seniors. So it feels like the sport overall is young. How did the fall go for you with so many new faces?
Yeah, I mean, it's every team brings its new challenges and its new personalities and things like that. And I was really pleased with our fall. For one, just trying to get comfortable with each other and kind of figuring out what your team's about, what your team's capable of, and where your team needs to get better. That was important to me and important to us. I like this group. We're a little different. We're not maybe as, I don't know if athletics the word. I think we're a little bigger and stronger. I think we're going to be a little more offensive, which I like, and really it's what we tried to target because I feel like we've thrown it well. The last, I mean, really ever since I've been at North Texas, but offensively, we just the last couple of years we sputtered a little bit, and so uh, we changed some of our. I don't know if it would be philosophies as far as what we tried to bring in, but we tried to bring in some offensive pieces, a little more size, a little more pop, and so we'll see how it goes. But we swung the bat really well this fall, probably the most runs and hits that I've ever had in the fall with the team, and we threw it well. We're deep in the circle, and we got 7 arms. All of them are a little different, and so the depth in the circle is important. We're not real deep overall as a team, but our top kids can go, and I really like what this group's about.
Let's talk about that pitching staff because one of the headliners is the fact that you brought in Meredith Gorsuch to be your pitching coach,
Yep.
who had great success at Grand Canyon. Tell me about how you were able to get her to come and join your staff. And I spoke to her when she was on board. She was excited about the fact you had a deep staff, something she's accustomed to, is having so many arms and working with so many arms. So how has that kind of gone between her and the pitching staff getting to know each other?
Yeah, she's been great. She did a great job at Grand Canyon working for Coach Hayes out there. He did a really good job of getting her going as a young coach and mentoring her. And I figured that would be you work for a guy like that who's really good at what he does, and a good man. Like that was a good start to her career. I kind of tried to take advantage of the fact that she's from this area. I've tried to hire her a couple times. I'm glad it worked out this time. Just felt like we needed to make a splash there, not only for developing our kids and all that stuff, but also the recruiting piece too. And she's great at both those things. And also she's just a good figure in the bullpen and for our team, and our kids really respect her. And she had a really good fall, and really excited about what she's doing and how she's leading our young people, and hopefully she makes a splash for us, kind of like she did for Grand Canyon.
Of course, among the arms you've got is Skylar Savage. Let's start with her. What have you seen from her after the season she had last season? She'll be leading the pitching staff, and then some of the other arms you got.
Yeah, so Skylar. One of the things I liked Coach Gorsuch did with her is she's tinkered a few things with her and given her a couple pitches that she hasn't had. She's been more down with the change, and we've had an issue going up and in to righties and even going into lefties somewhat. And she's added a couple things to her there to where it just adds to her arsenal. Her velocity's up. She was first team all conference last year, and I think she stays healthy the way she worked. I mean, she had a great fall, and I'm excited about what she's doing. She's experienced, and she's really the leader of our bullpen. So she stays healthy and all that. I could see the big things from Skyler this year.
How many of the 7 arms? Who else has stood out? Do you envision a staff where you have 2, 3 arms that carry the load? Do you see roles? How do you envision the staff working?
Yeah, the addition of Annika Anderson from the kid that transferred in from Tulsa. I mean, that kid's got electric stuff, and she came in 63, 64, pretty consistently. And I think by the end of the fall, her last fall, 2 fall games, she was pretty consistent around 66, 67. So I think we got her in a little better shape, which is good for her. And I think it's something she wanted to do. She's a lot stronger than when she came in, and the velocity showing. She didn't give up a single run this fall, which is great. Which you can't put a lot into the fall, but she was impressive, and to not give up a run all fall was pretty promising for her. So she's going to be a big addition to what we're doing, and she's a little different from Skylar, which I like. But yeah, it'll probably be two to three, maybe 4 that carry the load, but I think 3 is going to be a pretty solid number. But then the rest of the pin's going to provide different looks, and if we're struggling with somebody, we can change the look, we can change the spin, we can change the speed, and I think nowadays more than ever, just with all the data analytics and everything that we have in preparing for people, the ability to change looks is important. You see it in baseball, and I think you're starting to see it more in softball. The days of one or two pitchers and carrying your team just you just don't see it near as much anymore. And so I'm excited about that. And again, I always worry about health, and sometimes injuries are just bad luck. But if we stay healthy, I think we have a shot to be really solid in the circle again, get the ERA down.
You got pieces to replace on the offensive end, but you mentioned you had success in the fall. Who are some of the
Yeah.
names? Let's start with the returners. Who are the returners that will lead your offense that people can expect to either take a next level or maybe be the leaders to set the tone for the rest of the group?
Yeah. One of the common names for us for the last 3 years has been Sierra Simon, our shortstop. And, she's the last few seasons, she's hit over 300 and I think led our team in stolen bases, runs scored, and been up pretty high in on base percentage. So, and she actually didn't play much this fall. She practiced, but she had a minor injury that we had to basically take care of. But she's good to go now, and she'll be ready to go once we get going. So we add that back. And then you've got returner wise, Elizabeth Moffett was our starting catcher a year ago with was kind of a catcher 1A, 1B, and then she kind of got hurt in the middle of the season. And she had a really good fall. She's healthy and she's back. Tatum Sparks, kid that started for us, the OSU transfer from a couple of years ago. She had a great fall, probably the best fall she's had. I feel like that kid's really, as a junior now, really set up to have a big year. I think she's figured some things out. And she's comfortable, and so I expect some big things out of them. A kid that played a little outfield for us a year ago, Riley Nicholson. She had a really good fall, and so she's a senior now, and this is really her opportunity to be a everyday starter where she's kind of split time the last couple of years. So I'm excited to see what that kid does with that opportunity, knowing that going in she's going to be a starter. Maybe that takes a little pressure off her and give her consistent at bats. I think physically, athletic wise, that kid's got a chance. So returner wise, that's kind of where we're sitting there with our returning starters.
Of the new
Uh,
and how in key is it to have that core that have been around that and taken that level? Have you sensed that leadership from them?
yeah, yeah, and what they got to do is that senior class that just went out the door. One thing about them is they were great for our culture. They were great for the leadership piece, and they really they set the tone for what our program is going to be about. And so these kids have kind of come up with them and under them, and they've kind of taken the things that they really liked about that group, and then they've kind of added their own little their piece to it. So the good thing about us is, while yes, we did turn over a big class, is we've still got a good mix of some upperclassmen that have gotten it done, that know what it looks like, and so we've got a really good mix, and, and I like that.
Yeah, you mentioned some of the veterans there, and there's others that you feel will also contribute not just offensively but defensively, right? Like
Yeah.
I know you don't have all your defense set up, but who are some of the defensive players that you'll lean on to help you defensively?
Yeah, so obviously Sierra being a 3 year starter at shortstops, is center of your defense. It's key. The kid I was just talking about, Riley Nicholson, that kid is an excellent defender. And so, again, being a everyday, having the opportunity to be an everyday starter in center field, she's going to be solid there. And then just kind of based on her offense, Tatum Sparks is a great defender, and that kid can play anywhere on the field. She can catch, she can play third, she can play short, she can play second. The good thing about her is just based on who's really going at the plate, we can put her in a lot of different places. And so, I mean, those three for one are going to be solid for us. And then, Moff, our starting catcher going in, she can really throw, and so she's going to help us with the run game and defending the bunt and stuff. So, really, the up the middle of our field should be pretty solid, which is important. What you need to be good defensively.
The new faces. You've always had new faces that contribute right away and help you in success
Right.
throughout your career. Who are those this year that they're key players, the new faces that you think will contribute in the offensive end in particular, but even maybe pitching, that you think could be key factors that people get to know this year?
Absolutely. The Kalen Bearpaw, the kid we got from Tulsa, she hit in the middle of their lineup a year ago. That kid she's good. She's good. And I knew she was. And when she hit the portal, I mean, that's why we tried so hard to get her. She's big time presence at the plate, like probably the best swing and miss or swing, like kid doesn't miss is basically what I'm saying. Like I've watched a lot of hitters in my career, and that kid rarely swings and misses, and that's a sign of a really good hitter. Her hand-eye is pretty elite. Her swing path is really good. That kid had a great fall. I think the very first scrimmage of the fall, she had like 4 or 5 hits, and I'm like, holy cow, we haven't had a kid, like just consistently hit like this. She was like that really all fall. So she's going to be a big addition to us. Another kid that's going to be a big addition is a freshman, Asha Moore, uh, comes from Midwest City Carl Albert out of Oklahoma. Finished her travel career playing in the DeMarini Aces program, which is a really good one. Played for them and hit in the middle of their lineup. And that kid had a unbelievable fall. One of the better freshmen I think I've ever seen, and one of the better freshmen I've probably ever coached. And not only is that kid talented, but she wants it. She's got one of the best work ethics on the team. She's an old soul, so like she has some natural leadership abilities. I'm really excited about her. I think she's going to be a name to watch in the next few years. Again, she's got to stay healthy, but really excited about her. And then another kid that was didn't get consistent playing time a year ago, and she was kind of going through some growing pains. Maddie Conley is another kid that's big kid, big hitter, big bat speed, and I think she's a kid that's got a chance to really help us in the middle of our lineup. So really excited about her too. So I definitely think those are some of the new faces that are going to have an impact. We got another freshman, Taylor Platt's her name. She's an outfielder, really athletic, long, about 5'9", 5'10", left-handed hitter, slap, bunt, hit, all that stuff. She's got a chance to, she's a freshman. She's still learning and growing. But I think she's got a high ceiling and she can handle it mentally. So we'll see how that goes.
I
Sorry
remember
about that noise.
that.
Somebody's doing yard work over there.
I mean, I know yard work in my house too, so I know that feeling. I remember when I interviewed you when you first got to North Texas. You talked about you were looking forward to that being in the state of Texas, where it's such a rich, talented state for softball. And I've talked to other coaches in the state of Texas and people that have been around the sport for a while, and they're saying that it is as deep as it ever is from a not only a local standpoint, talent standpoint, but look at all the success that all the schools are having in the college level.
Yep.
Not just the Texas and the Texas A&Ms, but your program, Texas State.
Yep.
Certainly a lot of expectations with the Texas Tech, and so on and so on. We could go
Yep.
on. What's it been like being around that at this point as a coach?
I mean, it's fun. It is. It's great softball. It's highly competitive. Our region is brutal. It's tough. I mean, there was a time when I was at Austin P, and no offense to the area over there, but you could find winnable games. Like in this region, you schedule one of these Texas D1 schools, like you're going to get a tough game, and so it's good in a lot of ways, and it's fun to watch. And I think a lot of it, like you said, just has to do with the state of Texas and the game of softball has really accelerated. I think in the last 10 years. And, at one time, I think California far and away was the most talent rich state in the sport. I think Texas high school and youth softball is going toe to toe with that state now. And that's great. And that's just shows you the overall growth of our sport. And, I think it's good for our sport. And I think it's why this region is so good.
It is, and I think the proof is you mentioned how you felt, about your tough schedule last year, and maybe you felt you overscheduled. I mean, I felt like during the year last year, a lot of times there'd be a midweek, and I'm at home, and I'm like, oh wow, North Texas played so and so. Oh wait,
Yeah.
the following, holy smokes, they're playing Oakland.
Yeah.
I mean, like that's the example. There's so many
Yeah.
regional games you get on the midweek alone.
Yeah.
That it felt like every week, every time I tuned into you on ESPN Plus, you're playing a marquee game. Now, the
Yeah.
exciting thing is I saw packed houses at your home games,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
a big plus and a credit to the other programs that are willing to come to your place because
Yeah.
that's not so easy to some teams might be too scared to go to your place,
Right.
but you're able to draw. But on the other hand, you're playing tough competition on
Yeah.
midweeks.
Yep. Every week it's just nonstop. And again, it's like I said, it's great. It's fun. It's tough, but that's what we want. We want our game to continue to grow. Parity is a good thing, and I think you're seeing it more than ever in our
How
sport.
how are you a different coach today than when you arrived in Denton the first day?
I'm still living and learning. I think I'm probably more patient than I was, 6 years ago. And like it's one thing to come into a program, bring some excitement. It's sometimes I'd say it's maybe easier to find immediate success in my own experience, but sustainability is tough, especially at the mid major level with what we're up against with NIL and extra scholarships and all that stuff. And I'm really proud of what we've done here because through changes of players and the changes of rosters and we change conferences and everything else. We're still here right in the mix every year. And that's something I told you when I took the job is, I want to be considered a favorite or, I want to finish in the top three in our league every single year. And we've been able to do that. And I don't think this year's any different. I think we've got a good group. And so overall, just you learn things, but just this is the longest place I've sat in my career, and just learning how to continue to have success, continue to sometimes you have to reinvent yourself, and all that stuff. And I feel like our program still has a really good name in the recruiting world, and we're a good destination for players. And you come here, we're going to win a lot of games, and we're going to have a chance to win a championship every year. And I think that's those are big things that recruits look for. And I think that we've built our program into a good, respectable name.
You've always embraced the expectations. A lot of coaches sometimes would try to downplay it and like, we're still work in progress. I don't know, but every year, no matter what you've lost personnel wise, you've always embraced and pushed for those expectations. Like I
Yeah,
remember one year you reached out to me when I thought, well, you might have a, you might. I was like, hey, don't forget about us. Don't forget about. And you were right. You were
right.
absolutely right. Where does that come from? That thought process, mindset of, hey, bring on the expectations. I'm going to bring the expectations, and I want everybody to, not just in the program, but people outside to have the expectation, and that's okay. That's
Right.
okay if that kind of expectations is on us.
Right. No, I think you set the bar, and I think your kids will rise to your expectations the best that they can. Obviously we have physical limitations that we deal with at times, but overall, you set a high bar, you lead a good culture, and your kids will rise to it, and they take on the personality of the person leading them, and I think that's been a big part of our success here. And yeah, I've always been a competitive person. I don't care if I'm bowling, throwing darts, playing pool, playing golf. Like I hate losing, and I don't handle losing all that well all the time. But like it motivates me. I want to win, and I try to instill that in our kids. And it's also a testament to the type of people we bring into our program. They come in here and they want to continue to grow our program. And it's entitlement and things like that. Like we don't deal with that here. You want to be an entitled person, you're not going to make it in our program. And so the expectation is to work, the expectation is to win, the expectation is to be a good human and a good person, and those things have been they've done well for me, and I think it's a little bit of a testament to what we've done.
Conference tournament this year will be in Tampa. From what I understand, there's been tinkering with the format
Yeah.
of the conference tournament. First of all, do you like the tinkering that they've done now with the tournament? Tell us and their thoughts. And I'm also curious, do you like the fact that it's rotating to on-campus sites? Because I know other conferences have been discussing certainly neutral sites. This college
Yeah.
baseball does a lot of neutral sites.
Yeah.
In comparison, how do you feel about that?
Yeah, I like our new format. I think it just gives us the opportunity to protect our top four a little better, which is, like when we went into our meetings after our season, that was just something that I discussed is like, hey, if we were on the brink of making the NCAA tournament RPI wise, you guys gave us a low RPI team in the first game of the conference tournament, which could have hurt us. And so to me, that just didn't make sense. And so if we're going to have a conference tournament, we've got to protect our top four. And it's no disrespect to the lower part. Everybody gets that, and we all discuss that. But like, let's set up a system to where if we are going to play a lower seeded team, they at least have to win a couple games to get to us. You know what I mean? And so I think that was really our aim there, is just how can we best protect our top four? Because there could be years where we could have four right there on the bubble trying to get in the tournament. And so the last thing we want to do is deter that possibility. Yeah, there's no doubt as far as the location of the tournament, the team that hosts has a huge advantage. And we, like a couple of years ago, we hosted the Conference USA tournament. And I think we run rolled the semis and we run rolled the championship game against two really good teams. but we're at home, we're comfortable, we had a huge crowd, right? So there's no doubt that that was an advantage to us. I think if we could find a neutral site that could host it, I think that's a great idea, honestly. Um, but this is just kind of how we've done things. But like, no doubt that the host team has an advantage. And so like even this year, going down there and playing Coach Erickson, down in South Florida, he's going to have a great crowd. It's going to be hot. It's going to be humid. The ball doesn't carry there. There's a lot of factors that we'll deal with down there that we don't deal with much, in our conference or anything else. So going down to South Florida in May is going to be a challenge. And so, but that's the format and that's the way it is for now. And I'm not complaining about it. It's how we've done it. And we'll have to go down there and play well.
Yeah,
But yeah, a neutral site conference tournament would be, I mean, I think it'd be advantageous. I just don't know how doable it would be for our league, but we'll see.
right. It's very there's a lot of things they got to take into account, hotels and things like that. And some people have wondered, well, why not just have the regular season champ host? It's a quick turnaround. People, it's not as
Yeah.
easy, I guess, to plan out.
No. Yeah.
Um, I do applaud you and coaches for being able to adapt on the conference tournament because I agree 1,000%
Yeah.
about protecting the top four seeds. Last year, right there, you had four teams in the mix.
Yeah, we
Really, if
did.
you think about it, 4 to 5
Yeah.
teams. So I agree. The American is one of those leagues that absolutely can be a multiple bid leagues. That's
Yes.
proven that from a track record, from an RPI standpoint, it's a top five, top six league.
Yep.
And you're right. If you're going to invite everybody into the conference tournament, at least try to protect the top half. Not to mention that makes the regular season even more important to shoot
Absolutely.
for that.
Absolutely. Yeah. There's a huge advantage to being the one or the two seed, and there's still an advantage to being the three or the four, which is kind of what we were after in that meeting. And kudos to our coaches. And this is a good group of coaches that we're dealing with, and they understand the game. And so it's again, it's moving to the American. It's been a good thing, and I'm excited about the future of our conference.
Right, because not for the most part, you don't have to. I mean, your goal is to win the conference championship. That's the easiest path to get to the NCAA. But it's not the end all be all like it is in other leagues where like if you don't win the automatic bid, you're probably out. Here you
Right.
can get in as an at large. There's other paths because of the competition in the league.
Yep. Absolutely.
You mentioned hosting. I mean, could we see North Texas host in a few years here? I mean, is
Yeah.
that
I
going to be
mean,
around
we're
the corner?
Yeah, we're trying. We're on that list. We're trying to see if we can get it back to Denton. Yeah, I mean, it was the when we got to do it a couple years ago, it was fantastic for us. So, and we're DFW is a great place to come to for everybody else. We've got two airports. It's easy access and all that stuff, and so tons of food, tons of hotels. So, I mean, I think we're a great destination for that. And we're not in the middle of downtown Dallas or Fort Worth. We're outside, and so like, I think we're a great destination to host something like that for sure.
I agree. I could campaign for you if you need me to. I'll campaign for you there. I'm a big
Absolutely.
proponent. If you're going to host conference tournaments on site, make it where it's very easy for fans to get to and parents to get to.
Yes.
I think would be very applied. Yours would qualify under that for sure, no doubt. Um, was there anything in this as far as technology, any rules that you stood out to you in the last year that you think either needed to be addressed or needs to be addressed?
Not really. I really like the pitch clock. I do.
You liked it?
It's
Okay.
it's yep. It keeps us on a good steady pace. I feel like we're versus the first year we put it in. I feel like we're ironing it out, and I think it's good for the game because yeah, it's hard to sit through 3.5, 4 hour games, right? And there's no doubt that the popularity of softball, one thing that people really love about it is how fast the game is. And softball was becoming more offensive, which was naturally lengthening the games. And so the clock really has helped us. And I do love that addition. I like that we're allowing pitchers to really like we're freeing them up. I felt like for a while we had them in such a little box with rules. I felt like it was dangerous for them, and now giving them the ability to leap and all that stuff, I think it's great. I hated what we were doing to pitchers in our game, so I like that change too. We let them throw, let them jump, let them leap, and all that stuff, and let them do their thing. I think it's safer for them. I think it helps them, and it'll balance out the numbers a little bit because you started seeing the ERAs just slowly going up every
Yeah.
year. So really for me, it's I don't dislike any of the rules. I like the additions that we've made, and I feel like we're gaining some ground on the obstruction rule too, and
Yes.
that's good to see too because there's been some instruction calls against us. There's been some that we've seen in games. I think in the World Series a year ago, a girl's in a rundown and they called a base pass,
Yeah.
obstruction by the defender. Like where are you supposed to go, right? And so um, just some common sense things that we've changed about that rule. So I really applaud our leadership and how they're trying to make our game better. I think we've done things to make it better, not make it worse.
Couple last things before I let you go. First of all, shout out to your social media team over there at North Texas on the scheduling unveiling. Got massive reviews. My co-host Victor loved it, mentioned it on the
Yeah,
pod. A lot of your fans enjoyed it as well, and it also showed a lot of fans were excited to see what your schedule would look like.
yeah,
That has to be proud, not just by the hard work by the staff that helps you promote the sport, your program, but also the fact that people circle. All right, I can't wait to see what the schedule is going to look like for North Texas. That has
right.
to made you feel proud that day, where a lot of people got a lot of buzz there.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, that was one of the that was probably the most creative schedule release I've ever seen. And kudos to our media team. Like they're fantastic. If you follow our Twitter, you follow our Instagram, it's high quality. Those guys are as good as it gets, and I love it. Like they really prideful in what they do, and they tell a story about our school, and really that's their job, and they go above and beyond. And even Chris sitting here on this call, he's a great SID, and we've been lucky enough to keep him around for the last few years, and I think that department is one of the best in the country, and so it's fun to see what they come up with, and we don't get tipped on these things. They do these things and then they put them out there and we get to see them. And so it's fun for us too.
But it's so smart because softball has become one of the things that's helped softball's popularity is the social media interaction. That is something that I've learned covering the sport. How much feedback and how much people interact on social media about softball that, quite frankly, they don't do for other sports.
Right.
A lot of people get their softball fix if not watching it in person or watching it on, they might be watching it at home and interacting on social media with that was and like I said that helped and as an example right there.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And the game's popularity just continues to grow. And you gotta love the creativity and the willingness to continue to adapt to the world we live in. And I just feel like it just keeps getting better and better. So it's definitely a good thing.
All right, well, let's keep Chris a secret. We don't want to get out too out there to like national people to notice there too much. But I'll let you go with this. Before you know it, the season will get going. You'll have another schedule there. What are a couple questions or keys that you've got in the back of your mind that you're looking forward to finding out about this group that you think will help define the season?
Yeah. So for us, I think we're really talented. Could be the most talented team I've had offensively,
Wow.
deep in the circle. But you can be as talented as you want to be. At the end of the day, how mentally tough is this team? When we don't play well, how are they going to respond? When we go through a tough stretch in the schedule, which we got a couple of those, how are they going to handle it? How good are we going to be on the road? And so the two road fall games we had this fall, I thought we played really well. We were loose and all that stuff, and so you just never know how your team's going to handle adversity until they really get in it. And I think for us that's the biggest question. So can we stay healthy and can we handle adversity? And I think if we work hard and we chase hard at what we want, I think the ceiling is extremely high for this group. So we'll just see how it goes.
Well, Coach, we look forward to seeing your team get going before you know it. Season will be around the corner, but in the meantime, I know you got a lot of things going on. So thanks for always taking the time to talk to us here on In the Circle and D1 Softball, and I'm sure we'll cross paths during the season. But in the meantime, good luck. Thanks for always coming on.
Thank you, Eric. I appreciate the publicity. Happy birthday this Friday, and Merry Christmas to you and yours. So have a good one.